first ever Friday live. For those of you guys who check in with us, who tap in with us today, thank you guys for checking in, for tapping in. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you do all of the things that YouTube channels want you to do with our channel as well. We would appreciate it very much. But we're here. All we're doing today, we're reviewing Thursday Night Football, and we're previewing the early Sunday slate today. And as we saw on Thursday Night Football, an absolute demolition by the Los Angeles Chargers over the Minnesota Vikings, 37-10, fellas. What did you guys take away from this game?
My biggest takeaway is simply that Carson Wentz does not deserve to be under center for any team in the NFL. I mean, this man is whatever magic he had in Philly is long gone. It's never coming back. And, I think that's week in, week out. There's two things that are consistently on my phone after, the weekend of football, right? Like Thursday, Sunday, and the Monday night games. It's two channels that I follow. I find absolutely hilarious. And they do the top 5 worst passes in the NFL. And it's always, there's 1 through 5 is either Carson Wentz, an honorable mention of Carson Wentz, or it's 1 through 5 Tua Tagovailoa, and that's just what it is. So it's realistically, now don't get me wrong, I think Carson Wentz is way worse than Tua is, but it's not by a large margin. As much
not
as
a very high bar to cross there, man.
It's really not. It's really not. But I mean, Carson Wentz is not it. And at some point in time, man, JJ McCarthy has to get back on the field. I mean, this team needs competency under center, and people are looking at us like, oh, what's going on? Kevin O'Connell's done so well with all of these quarterbacks. Why is Carson Wentz having a problem? And I think that it's kind of a point to prove to that is Kevin O'Connell's had so much success with quarterbacks that if a quarterback goes in there and can't succeed, you can't succeed in the NFL. Like, that is a very QB-friendly offense. So Carson Wentz is done. Like, this is the end. I don't think he needs to be a backup quarterback anymore. There's not another backup quarterback on a roster, I think, at this point in time that I wouldn't pick over Carson Wentz.
Can I even go even further right now? Like, I know we're solely talking about Carson Wentz, but like, this is just my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. I think the Vikings might sneakily have one of the worst QB situations in football.
Maybe.
I think like when you really think about it, JJ McCarthy's only played in 2 of 23 games. He's missed 21 games in his NFL career already. The 2 games he played, 301 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 58.5 completion percentage, and a 67.2. So he hasn't been good in his first 2 games. Now, granted, he had 1 good quarter against Chicago, and really that's been it. Really 1 good quarter. And then Carson Wentz.
Oh man, the notebook.
Oh geez, here's the freaking notebook. Goodness sakes.
What? I can't show the notes from the back here. I can't. 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 85. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Look, I think they made a mistake moving off of Sam Darnold. They made a mistake. I truly think that Seattle now has a QB that not only can lead them for. It's not a bridge year for Seattle. It's not a bridge anymore. No. I genuinely think he's their QB of the future. I don't know what Mike McDonald did. He must have like seen the future and said Geno's going to regress now. And then Sam Darnold comes in and just Sam Darnold has done what Geno Smith couldn't do for the first couple of years. JSN has been unleashed. JSN is officially a top 5 receiver in football this year, and he could have finished the league leader in receiving yards. And it's partially because of Sam Darnold. So the Vikings made a mistake getting rid of Sam Darnold. I know it's easy to say that with the benefit of hindsight, but even with JJ McCarthy, look, I was never a big believer in JJ McCarthy personally. I didn't like his tools as much. I thought he didn't pass the ball enough for me to say he screams top 10 pick. If he's a project, I always say projects are always risky when they're taken in the first round. If you're a QB, if it's taken late first round, I'm willing to give it a pass. But if it's early first round, within the top 15 picks, those guys are expected to be starters, starting level QBs immediately. We are a year and a half, we're close to a year and a half in, and JJ McCarthy has shown 1 quarter of solid-ish QB play. So there's a lot to be worried about if I'm a Vikings fan, because I'm not sure about my QBs going forward. Carson Wentz is really bad, and JJ McCarthy is always hurt. So as great as Kevin O'Connell is, he can only do so much. I think eventually if McCarthy can't stay healthy and we're heading into year 3, they're going to start looking for a replacement very quickly.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah, and to your point about JJ McCarthy, I mean, he certainly, like you mentioned, he had that amazing quarter of football, the fourth quarter against Bears. The first 3 quarters he was terrible, and then all 4 quarters against Atlanta he was bad. Like JJ McCarthy's looked great for 1 quarter, and other than that, he has not played good football. I will say, as far as JJ McCarthy goes, let's be a little bit patient with him. Okay, he's literally played 8 quarters of football. Let's chill on JJ McCarthy. Again, I wasn't the biggest JJ McCarthy fan coming out of college either. I thought he would be a serviceable enough quarterback to have success in that Minnesota offense because of his tools, because he is accurate with the football, because he does make good decisions most of the time, and because of the Kevin O'Connell system with Justin Jefferson, with Jordan Addison, with Hawkinson in there as well. And obviously they have the 2-headed monster in the it's not really a monster. It's a good running back duo in the backfield with Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. So I feel like he will start to get it going here with this Minnesota Vikings offense, assuming he stays healthy. But like you mentioned, health is a big concern. He's only played 2 games in the NFL so far. But again, JJ McCarthy, also, real quick, Sammy, JJ McCarthy is also still the youngest quarterback in the NFL. People aren't realize that, but he's also the literal youngest quarterback in the NFL, even younger than every single one of the rookies that just came out, younger than Quinn Ewers, younger than Cam Ward, younger than all of them who just came out. So JJ McCarthy is still a very, very young quarterback. We got to give him a little time and a little leeway to kind of make his leaps and kind of take his lumps and figure out how to play the NFL quarterback position.
Right, but I guess my only thing is that, like, one of the things of why I'm a little bit like saying, like, hey, pick it up, JJ. Look, we don't know how much longer. Look, JJ, as I know, he's in the very prime of his career, right? Like, so I'm not worried too much. But man, we've seen JJ Jettas waste so many elite years. I think it's about time that there is actually something, like there's something for a great QB that he gets to throw the ball from. He had one last year, I'd say, with Sam Darnold. But outside of that, I mean, and also shout out to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins gave him some fantastic years as well. I will say, however, he's never had a QB that, like, he's truly been comfortable with, right? Never really. JJ McCarthy, in my opinion, could potentially be his last shot in his prime to have a good QB to have a QB he's comfortable with. It could be. Now I could be wrong, and the Vikings could draft another QB and he turns out to be special. But right now, that's why I'm getting a little bit impatient with JJ, because look, Jay Jettas, I understand, and he's only 26, right? There's still 4 years left in his prime. Man, we don't know when Jay Jettas' prime could be over. It could be over like this. God forbid an injury happens. God forbid, something tragic happens. Like, we don't know. So in my opinion, that's why JJ McCarthy has to pick it up eventually, because the Vikings are trying to win. Like, it's not like they don't really have time to, like, sit back and wait. It's year 2 at this point for JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, you look up at the NFC North standings right now. Minnesota's in last, and it's really not close right now. They're sitting very near the bottom of last. The next closest team is the Bears, who are at 4-2. So again, this team, especially coming off of that 14-win season last year, they've already got basically not double the losses. They got one more loss through 7 games than they had the entire season last year. So again, disappointing start for Minnesota, that's for sure. And they need JJ McCarthy to come back and be the quarterback that they drafted him in the top 10 to be. But I want to talk about this game from the Chargers perspective as well, because the Chargers looked like they were back. The Chargers looked like they were back on track against a pretty solid Minnesota Vikings defense as well. And I want to give Joe his flowers right now. And I want to also give him an opportunity to shout out Tony Gonzalez and how Joe knows more ball than Tony Gonzalez, the Hall of Fame tight end. So Joe, why don't you talk about your boy, Aronde Gadsden, the second for the Los Angeles Chargers?
Everyone acts like this guy came out of nowhere. Right, he was a top 3 receiver in the ACC. He was a move tight end who was a wide receiver who put on a lot of weight. Massive catch radius. The guy's like 6'6", 6'7". He's massive, right? His wingspan's like over 80 inches. He had I think his vertical was like 32 inches. So I mean, like, the dude can legitimately jump out of the building. Has tons of arm length on him and everything like that. And he came out of nowhere, Tony Gonzalez says. Out of nowhere. No one thought maybe he'd be a good move tight end, good red zone threat. He's just got size on just about everyone who can guard him. He moves, I think he ran like a 4.6, 4.7 in the 40. Like, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, how does no one see this? I saw it. And I believe I got heckled. I got heckled by a member on this channel.
You got heckled?
I got heckled by a member on this channel. You don't remember, Matt? I was like, I remember there was a guy, looked just like Sammy, said, yo, where do you find these guys with these whack-ass weird names, these non-football names?
Look, Joe, I have a tremendous respect for your ball knowledge. I don't recall ever like disrespecting you by any means. So
it's like Efton Chisholm the third, Ronde Gaston the second, Corey Krosky Merritt.
Returning kicks for the Patriots is where Efton Chisholm has been.
I mean, look, man, Bill has been solid. Ronde Gaston has been good. I haven't seen Efton Chisholm yet.
The big story here is Joe knows the tight end position better than Tony Gonzalez. I think that's the I want you to go out on I want you to go on record and say, I'm Joe and I know the tight end position better than the Hall of Fame tight end, arguably the greatest tight end ever before Gronk and Kelsey came in, better than Tony Gonzalez.
Go ahead and say it, Joe. Say it, Joe, right now.
I'm not going to say that. I know I said it in the chat.
Oh, my gosh. What a coward.
Chat.
You coward.
But in this instance, I saw it coming. And you know who didn't? Tony Gonzalez didn't see it. He didn't see Ronde Gadsden's greatness. But I did.
He did not see it. He did not see it. And to your point, I mean, especially that route on the goal line, that stick nod that he ran to absolutely just fold Josh Metellus of the Vikings. Unbelievable. I mean, and now once you're watching him play, you're like, how didn't everybody else see this earlier? Because he's and it's crazy that he slid to the fifth and he absolutely balled out. But just from an overall Chargers perspective, what did you guys take away from this game? Because for me, what I saw from this game is how big of a difference that Joe Alt makes for this Los Angeles Chargers team. Just looking at Herbert's stats, and I got these stats per Tony Holzman and Next Gen with Joe Alt in the lineup. 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, 8 yards per attempt, and 107 rating for Justin Herbert. Without Joe Alt in the lineup, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks, 6.7 yards per attempt, and an 88.6 rating. So numbers-wise, with Joe Alt, he's an MVP candidate. Without Joe Alt, he's Carson Wentz. Like, you look at Wentz's numbers that Sammy just talked about, they're basically the same as what I just said Justin Herbert's were without Joe Alt. So again,
Herbert or Joe Alt merchant?
Joe Alt merchant.
Are we actually saying this right?
No.
He's a Joe Alt merchant.
Not only is he
a lineman merchant. I've never heard that.
Justin Herbert and Joe Alt have probably the most wholesome touchdown celebration I've ever seen. Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
So Justin Herbert throws a touchdown. Joe Alt runs up to him, and they both just start jumping in the air like this at each other. And it's like, yay, yay. And I'm like, I'm watching it. I'm like, they're kids on the school ground, man. And it cracked me up so bad, but it was just wholesome. Like, they were just happy for each other, but it was like, I don't want to hurt you. And Joe Alt's like, I'm already kind of hurt, so don't touch me either.
Yeah, it wasn't a Broderick Jones, Aaron Rodgers situation there where Joe Alt just full on tackled Justin Herbert after a big touchdown. Yeah, it was more. It was more
serious too.
Rodgers was pissed, bro. Even in the interview afterwards, he was kind of pissed off. Yeah,
he was like, I'm 40 years old, man. You can't be doing that shit.
Yeah, crazy. But these Chargers, man, they looked back. They looked back to how they looked at the beginning of the season, and we'll see how they look going forward. Because this team obviously started off the season really, really well, and then obviously the injuries caught up to them. We saw them lose to the Giants. We saw them, kind of sputter a little bit. But man, this offense looked back to normal. Ladd McConkey, Ronde Gadsden, Keenan Allen in that offense. Kamani Vidal had a big game as well, over 100 yards on the ground as well. So that's a really big thing for the Los Angeles Chargers as well, to get that running game going forward without Omari and Hampton. But I don't know about you guys. I want to get into these Sunday games a little bit. And the first one that I have written down, and it'll give Sammy an opportunity to vent a little bit if he wants, is Miami and Atlanta, gentlemen. Miami and Atlanta. What do you guys think about this Miami versus Atlanta game?
Why are we? No, wait. Why are we talking about this game? You guys are doing this to piss me off. What the heck is wrong with you guys?
You guys,
I would never.
No, one of you two coordinated this behind the scenes, because we
honest
all
to
know
God, this is all Matt.
It is literally so unbelievably obvious that the Dolphins are not a good team this year. You guys are doing this to spite me, and it's for views and it's for clicks, and I want to know why. Why does my pain satisfy the both of you? Okay, it is not fun right now. Okay, not even my heat can satisfy the quench of winning that I need. Okay, so can we just move on? We don't need to talk about this game. We really don't. Like, there's no reason to talk about this.
Atlanta by double digits.
Can I say one thing real quick about the Dolphins? They have the single worst interviewing quarterback in the history of the NFL. They have the single worst interviewing head coach in the history of the NFL. And when Tyreek is healthy, might be the single worst interviewing wide receiver in the history of the NFL. And that might not seem important, but
actually, he's not even that bad.
Not even that bad.
Well, compared to McDaniel and Tua, he's not that bad. But in the context of everybody else in the NFL, he's pretty bad. But my problem with that is, again, you listen to some of these good franchises that are actually good at sports, let alone football, franchises that are actually good at sports, period. Their press conferences are so buttoned up. You don't get anything from their press conferences. And every single time the Miami Dolphins do a press conference, there's something stupid that's said. Every single time. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And Sammy, you've talked about that a lot, so I won't even give you an opportunity to respond. We're just going to move right on. And hey, do you guys want to talk about the Jets and the Bengals, or do you guys want to skip right by that game too? Because that right there, I'm telling you right now, that is a game that I will not be watching under any circumstances. I don't think I will watch that game.
Literally,
not
if
one
they show
snap
that
of that
game. You want to know something? Is I'm going to be on Red Zone. And if they play that game on Red Zone, I'm going to turn the TV off. That's how
I'm going to be honest with you, man, is that there are people who live in the Cincinnati area who are only going to get that game.
Yeah. I mean, what is unless you have Jamar Chase in fantasy or Breece Hall in fantasy or why would you watch that game? Like, there's no reason to watch that game. I think
to see who they play at QB. That's kind of interesting.
And it looks like Tyrod's going to be the guy. He's nursing a knee injury, but it looks like he's going to be the guy. But the Jets are also out their two best players, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. So who the hell is going to guard Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? And the Bengals defense sucks, but it's also hard to be worried about anybody on that Jets offense outside of Breece Hall if Garrett Wilson isn't in there. So the Bengals are going to win, but I'm not going to watch unless it's like crazy in the fourth quarter or something like that. But yeah, it's not going to watch. But this next game that I want to talk about is actually a very interesting matchup. The Ravens and the Bears. Now, the Ravens obviously looking to get Lamar Jackson back from his hamstring injury. It looks like he's going to be available to play. And the Bears on a 4-game winning streak after that tough 0-2 start. Fellas, what are we thinking about this Bears and Ravens game?
I think that this is
it's a chance for the Ravens to
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Joe. No,
I was going to say, this is your chance to find out if Lamar can win games with this team. And it's also your chance to find out if the Bears are actually as good as they've been playing, because this Ravens defense, like Lamar coming back, has no impact on how bad this Ravens defense has been. Right. And the Bears, they've been turning it up a little bit. You know, you're seeing the defense playing well. They are coming off a really, really dominant win over the Saints, where they forced Spencer Rattler into probably the worst game of his career. And he was riding high, you know, after getting a win and everything like that. So, you know, they're coming in the game riding high, going into Baltimore. Not an easy place to play, but at the end of the day, I mean, this team is bad. This Baltimore team is bad. I think that a lot of people are expecting, you know, as Lamar comes back, think the ship rights a little bit. But I don't think this is the game it rights. I think the Bears keep the Ravens down, whether Lamar's playing or not. I don't think that the Baltimore defense can do enough to make this game a winnable game for Baltimore.
I think that this is like you said, Joe, it's like a great opportunity for the Bears, but it's also a great opportunity for the Ravens, to really get back on track. And, you know, I know a lot of people think, you know, at 1-5 that the Ravens are completely out of it. Well, look out, because if they win this game, they're going to go up. Their next couple games, it's the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Browns, the Jets, the Bengals. Then they got the Steelers, and they have the Bengals. And then the last 3 games are really the Patriots, Packers, and the Steelers again. So obviously the divisional matchups are going to be the toughest matchups. But aside from that, not a lot of difficulty. And they are now just getting Lamar Jackson back. I don't know what the percentage is of 1-5 teams to go and make the playoffs. I would imagine it's very low, but with the schedule that the Ravens have for the rest of the year, this is a must-win game. If you want to get back into the playoff picture in the AFC or even the division, because I really don't like the Steelers. They might win the division out of garbageness of the division more than because of the Steelers. Steelers fans, by the way, it's not because we hate your team. It's because you guys suck. Okay, it's really that simple. I'm not trying to be like mean when I say this, but like when I say bottom 10 in offense and bottom 10 in defense, I mean it when I say it. Okay, it's a real thing, and stats, numbers don't lie. I know you want to but film doesn't lie. Film definitely doesn't lie at all either. However, even the film can see you guys are getting bailed out. So with that being said, I think that if there's any division that can have a 1-5 team come all the way back and if there's any team that can do it, it's the Ravens. I don't think they're out of this division quite yet. But that's only if they win this game. I think this Saturday, my bad. This Sunday is 1000% must win for the Ravens, Matt.
So Sammy, to answer your question, 4 teams, 4. That's it. 4 have started 1-5 and made the playoffs. Not a single one of them made it past the divisional round.
And I'm here to tell you, Joe, and I'm here to tell you, Sammy, it's going to be 5. This Ravens team is still winning this division. And you want to know why this Ravens team is still winning this division? Because after the next 3 weeks, they're both going to be 4-5. The Steelers play the Packers, the Colts, and the Chargers. And the Ravens have the Dolphins, the Vikings, and the Bears. So I think the Ravens are going to win each of these next 3 games, assuming Lamar Jackson's healthy. If Lamar Jackson is hurt and he doesn't play this game, then Tyler Huntley's in there, Cooper Rush is in there.
Then that Lamar is healthy.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, Lamar Jackson has to be healthy. But if Lamar Jackson is healthy, listen, they were obviously off to a rough start to start off the year, but they also had a brutal schedule to start off the year. It was Lions, it was Chiefs, it was Bills. There were some really, really tough teams in there to start the year. Now the schedule is lightening up. Again, assuming Lamar Jackson's coming back healthy, I think this is a bad matchup for Chicago if Lamar's back, because they have the 5th worst run defense in the NFL, 2nd worst in yards per carry, 5.3 yards per carry against the Chicago run defense. You combine that with Derrick Henry, with Lamar Jackson, with a Chicago Bears offense that hasn't looked as crisp as we've expected it to look. Even though they've been winning games, they still haven't looked super crisp on the offensive side of the ball. The defense has looked a little bit better, creating turnovers, especially last week against the Saints. But the offense hasn't looked the same as we thought. So maybe it gives the Ravens defense a chance to get right. I think the Baltimore Ravens are still going to win this AFC North, and it's going to start this week by beating a team in the NFC North, the Chicago Bears. But I got to transition, fellas, and I'm going to transition here to our team, Joe. It's the New England Patriots against the Cleveland Browns. And now this is a game that, 5-2 Patriots, 2-5 Browns, you shouldn't be nervous about. But, Joe, I'm a little bit nervous about this game against the Cleveland Browns. I am, because it's going to be a huge test up front for this New England offensive line. Again, you look at this Browns defense, there is not many weaknesses in this Browns defense. This is a championship caliber defense that the Cleveland Browns have right now. They are 4th in run defense, 82.5 yards per game, tied for 1st in yards per carry, 3.3 yards per carry against this Browns run defense. And that's something the Patriots already don't do very well, run the football. So again, if they can even shut down the Patriots run game even a little bit more, it's going to put all the pressure on Drake May. But if all the pressure's on Drake May, again, the Browns got a good pass defense too. 3rd in pass defense, 8th in opposing yards per attempt. They're 1st in total yards, and the only reason that they're 13th in points per game is because the offense is ass and they can't play complementary football. So again, you look at the entire Browns defense, 1st in pass rush win rate, 1st in run stop win rate. This defense is loaded. And again, I've never been like a PFF merchant, and I don't know if y'all saw JJ Watt just absolutely destroy the player grading system by PFF. So again, you can take the grading system with a grain of salt. But again, looking at this Browns defense, their safeties, Hickman and Delpit, graded 3rd and 5th best safeties in football. The linebackers, Bush and Schlesinger, graded 6th and 19 out of 78 linebackers in football. The defensive line, Myles Garrett, Malik Collins, Alex Wright, all 3rd, 1st, and 8th in their positions respectively. And the 3 other guys on their defense I didn't mention are their corners, Tyson Campbell and Denzel Ward, who I personally believe to be good NFL corners. And then Mason Graham as well is on that defensive line, who was the 5th overall pick in the draft. So it's a damn shame that this offense is absolutely atrocious, because this is a playoff or championship caliber defense. And again, the Patriots offense is the offensive line especially is much, much improved. PFF have them ranked as the 6th best offensive line in football heading into this week. What a turnaround. But this is going to be a huge test for this Patriots offense, especially the offensive line coming up here in Cleveland. So, fellas, Patriots and Browns, what are you guys thinking?
I mean, this game is a classic trap game, right? We know this is a classic trap game. And if you don't think this is a classic trap game, then you're severely mistaken. This is literally a prototypical trap game. Offense isn't great. They got a lot of really good young stars on this team. Harold Fannin Jr. We're big fans of Harold Fannin Jr. on this segment. Quinshon Judkins, has been balling out, doing really, really well. Dillon Gabriel hasn't looked great, but then again, he's getting his feet wet as under center. They're being a run heavy offense. If the Browns can control the ball and, sort of make this a dogfight, this can be a close game. The biggest problem the Browns have right now is they've only essentially ever seen one game this season where they've scored more than 17 points. And that was against the Dolphins, 31-6.
Damn it!
All right.
Yep,
so
there you go, Sammy.
And that was last week. But you're going into New England. New England's riding high. They're on a 4-game win streak right now. You're probably going to make it 5 if you don't do something crazy, but you have a top-tier pass rusher. You have a good defense. This is going to be the first real test of the Patriots offense. I feel like this is the first time we're going to see how they're going to play against a top 10 defense, because don't get me wrong, the Browns have a top 10 defense. You just listed all of the player grades. Granted, once again, PFF, take it with a grain of salt, but they're all top at their positions, right? They're playing very, very well. This is a very good defense. So this is the first test Drake May's really going to have under center. It's the first test that, you're really going to see in a lot of situations that we're really going to get to judge this team from, and, it looked like the running game got going last week a little bit. Granted, Tennessee Titans aren't exactly a tough opponent. So, but at the end of the day, I would not be surprised if the Patriots lost this game. I just wouldn't be. This is your typical trap game. I'm expecting a lot. And, the big thing is going to be is whether or not Quinshon Judkins can go over 100 yards or not. Because so far this year, the Patriots have not allowed 100-yard rusher. I think that is my big takeaway of the game. Or my big prediction, right? My big keys to the game. Quinshon Judkins has to be dominant for them to win this game. I think that is where the Browns can separate themselves a little bit, is if he goes for over 100 yards.
It's going to be very important. Real quick, Sammy, and the point I made earlier about the Browns run defense, one of the only 3 run defenses that are better than the Browns is the Patriots. The Patriots, if they've done anything, it's stopped the run this year on defense. They've done an amazing job, about 75 yards per game opposing running backs average against this Patriots run defense. So like you mentioned, Joe, that is going to be a big key to the game. But Sammy, again, if you want to expound on that point that Joe made about the Dolphins, the Browns scoring 30 points on the Dolphins, if you want to expound on that, you can. But
no, we're not going to expound on the damn Dolphins. Okay, we all know what happened. All right, we all know what happened. I'm not going to discuss.
Just reminding our audience what happened.
I got embarrassed. Okay, I got embarrassed. I know what happened. Okay, I got embarrassed, and these things happen in life, and in life you have to just take them in the chin. You can't just dwell on it by any means. I have another point that I want to make, though. I think we're very close. I know this is going to get a lot of people. I know this is going to get some people mustered up, and I know Dillon Gabriel has looked solid. I think we're very close to the debut of Shedeur Sanders, gentlemen. I think it's
getting there.
I think it's coming. And I think I have a target date, actually. I have a target date. I think this is not a prediction, but I have 2 spots where I think Shedeur Sanders could make his debut. Spot number 1 against the Las Vegas Raiders, and I believe it's week 10, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's week 10. And then another spot, or it could be 2 weeks later against the Titans. I think those are 2 pretty ideal spots to get your rookie QB, who should have been your first round pick. Well, not first round pick. You should have been a way earlier pick in Shedeur Sanders. I think those are great spots to put him in, unless you want to go the baptism by fire rate and put him up against Robert Saleh's defense. I don't know if I'd want to do that, but by all means, go ahead if you do. Another baptism by fire start would be probably against the Bills or the Bears, or a divisional game against the Steelers. But that's going to be like the second to last week of the season. I doubt that's where it happens. But guys, gentlemen, I think we're close. We're very close to the start of Shedeur Sanders. As for this game, I know you guys are seeing it as a trap game. I would, but I think that it being in New England matters. I think that's a place where Dillon Gabriel is going to I don't think Dylan Gabriel. I forgot. I don't think this is Dylan Gabriel's first road start.
He started one in London.
I believe last week. Yeah, London against the Vikings. I believe, was it against the Vikings? Yeah.
Yep.
And then the next week against the Steelers, he was on the road and it didn't end well. I don't think Dylan Gabriel on the road is going to excel. Last time he was on the road, he threw 52 times, 221 passing yards. It was not very good. I think a very similar. I don't think the passing attempts are going to be up there, but I do think you're going to be able to rattle your. I do think you're going to be able to rattle the New England. New England's going to be able to rattle them. They have 18 sacks this year, which is solid. Nothing crazy. They're 11th, not bad. And then also they have the third best rush defense. So I think they can neutralize Judkins. And I'm not worried about Dylan Gabriel's arm. Who I am worried about is the weapons that they could have in Harold Fannin Jr. and Jerry Jeudy. I think those two guys are the players that you got to watch. But outside of that, I'm not worried about this game. And honestly, I'd be very stunned if this is a one possession game by the end of it.
I'm the opposite of you, Sammy. I think it's going to be closer than people think, just because I think the Patriots offense is going to struggle a little bit with that Browns defense, because like I mentioned, this Browns defense is legitimately good. However, and like I mentioned, this is probably the Patriots offense's biggest test so far this season. So we're going to see what they're really made of. Also, matchup to watch, Will Campbell, who has really, really good numbers, really, really good metrics. The rookie left tackle for the New England Patriots going up against Myles Garrett at times in this football game. That's a matchup that people are going to want to watch. But I don't know if the Patriots are going to pass this test with flying colors or not, but I do think they're going to win the game. I think it's going to be 20-14, something like that. I think it's going to be closer, low scoring, kind of like it should go in this one. But I do think the Patriots are going to pull through. But I want to stick in the AFC East, gentlemen, with the team that's in second place in the AFC East, and that's the Buffalo Bills. First of all, that sentence hasn't been said very often. The team that's in second place in the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills, they've pretty much been in.
It was said a couple years ago. It's just
it's been a while. Because and then the Dolphins blew the lead. But anyways, the Buffalo Bills are playing the Carolina Panthers this week. Okay, they're playing the Carolina Panthers, and to me, the run games are going to decide this game, because the Bills, number 1 rush offense in football, the Panthers, number 3 rush offense in football. Shout out to Rico Dowdle again for the Panthers being the number 3 rush offense in football. Those 2 games really bumped up the Panthers stats when he was the lead ball carrier. But again, the difference between the Carolina Panthers and the Buffalo Bills, Carolina stops the run on defense way better than the Bills do. They're the 8th best rush defense in the league, just 92.6 yards per game against this Carolina Panthers defense. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills, second worst rush defense in the league, 156.3 yards per game against this Bills rush defense, and 5.8 yards per carry, worst in the league. Lots of Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard to be expected in this game if the Carolina Panthers want to win. However, the Bills have Josh Allen, and the Panthers have Andy Dalton. So again, the Buffalo Bills, to me, are going to win this game strictly because Josh Allen is one of the best 2 quarterbacks in football, in my opinion. But guys, what do you think? Bills and Panthers, what are you thinking for this one?
I'm not thinking too much into it. I understand the Panthers have been on a bit of a hot streak, beating teams like the Cowboys, beating teams like the Jets and the Dolphins. But unfortunately, you're about to face a real contender now. And the Bills, look, of course, the defense has struggled. It's no secret they've struggled, especially their rush defense. But I do think that they're going to be able to. I do think they've been facing 3 of the weaker rush defenses in the entire NFL, and even though the Bills are a weak rushing defense, I don't think the Bills are going to struggle too much. I think the Bills are going to get in situations where they're playing ahead, and since they're going to be playing ahead, they're not going to be able to run the football as much as they want to. That defense that you're going to be worried about isn't going to have to worry about defending rushes from Rico Dowdle. They're going to have to worry about passes from Andy Dalton. That's a problem I'd rather deal with than, going face first into Rico Dowdle. I do want to say this. I want to apologize to Rico Dowdle because I said very, 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 very slanderous things. I was aware that Rico Dowdle rushed for 1,000 yards. I was aware of that. I just didn't think. I just now thought up until this game, they chose Chuba Hubbard over Rico Dowdle. I like Chuba Hubbard over Rico Dowdle. And I don't think it's crazy to say that. I mean, they paid Chuba Hubbard. So going into this game, their backup running back, you can't expect me. I completely understand the optics look bad. I'd like to formally apologize to Rico Dowdle. I think, he's been very, very good this year. he hasn't faced a lot of great defenses, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he hasn't been balling out. So to the Rico Dowdle fans, which I didn't know you had that many.
There are some now. They're there now.
They're very there now. They're in the 2-6 or whatever. But look, I'd like to apologize to Rico Dowdle. With that being said, I think the Bills win this. I think it's close though. I think it's a closer game than people expect. I think the Panthers got something going there. They have something in terms of culture. I think the fact that they're winning games against some of these lower tier teams is a start because the Panthers, what is it, a year 3 now? So I think right now, year 3 for Bryce Young, I think something needed to happen eventually. So it's not the Bryce Young turn that you want, but something offensively is working right now, and I think that that's a good sign for the future. So it's a close game, but I think Bills win.
It's possible, that this is a close game. I think that you look at the injury report for the Buffalo Bills, Taylor Rapp just got put on injury reserve. Daquan Jones is not playing. Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, and Dalton Kincaid are all questionable. Joshua Palmer's already been ruled out. You're getting Maxwell Hairston back, who is that star cornerback who they took early on in the draft, and we all had a lot of hype for. He's been designated to return. He could return as early as this game and give them a lift in the secondary there. TJ Saunders, he's out. You start looking up and at DeMar Hamlin, he's not playing. Like their starting kicker, Tyler Bass, he's on IR. Dorian Strong's on IR. You just keep going down the list here. Dwayne Carter's on IR. This defense is ravaged with injuries right now. And I'm not saying that the Panthers are going to win this game, but if you look at this game and you look at the leaders on the defensive side and how poor defenses, especially rushing defenses, have allowed the Panthers to get away with wins, it doesn't really matter how good the Buffalo Bills are offensively, because we saw one of the best offenses in the Dallas Cowboys lose to the Carolina Panthers because they could not stop Rico Dowdle, right? So this is another one of those trap games that, because of the things the Bills are dealing with, they could end up with an L out this week, which would be, that'll be the main storyline come Monday. Like if the Bills lose to the Panthers, what's going on in Orchard Park? It's going to be the headline there. And, some people are going to say, oh, it's the injuries. Oh, it's this, which they're not wrong. But at the end of the day, it's Josh Allen. It's who, like, that is a premier name at the quarterback position. You're not supposed to lose to the Carolina Panthers. So I'm not saying they're going to win. The Panthers are going to win. I think that, to your point, this game could be close because of the injuries on the defensive side for the Bills, because of how poor their rush defense is, and just how poor their defense is in general. But if Josh Allen and James Cook cannot get a win against the Carolina Panthers, there's going to be a lot more questions going to be asked on Monday.
Yeah, this is an important game for Buffalo. Obviously, coming off the bye as well, too. They just had 2 bad losses before the bye to New England and to Atlanta. Now you're coming out of the bye. You get a team like Carolina that you're supposed to beat, and ideally you're supposed to beat them handily. So, again, if they struggle, they lose this game, there is going to be problems in Buffalo. But, Joe, you were just talking about how banged up the Buffalo Bills are. Let's go to a team that's also 2 teams, actually, that are also really banged up. The San Francisco 49ers and the Houston Texans is the next game that I want to talk about. And I feel like the 49ers injury report, that they might as well just list who's not injured at this point, right? Like the healthy report, which players are healthy, because pretty much everybody on their team is hurt. Brock Purdy's going to miss another game. Ricky Pearsall is going to miss another game. They're getting some of these weapons back. Jawan Jennings is back and healthy. George Kittle's back and healthy. But again, you lose Fred Warner, you lose Nick Bosa. Team is really banged up. But a team that I feel really bad for, a player specifically, fellas, that I feel really bad for, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has to run for his freaking life every single week. So, fellas, how do you see this game playing out? 49ers and Texans.
Right. The Texans' savings grace is that they have a great defense, right? This is probably one of the best scoring defenses really from a points allowed per game perspective in the NFL right now. And that has bought the offense time to figure it out a little bit. You sort of look at that, but you're going in there without Nico Collins. You're going in there really without Christian Kirk. You're not going to have your at least 2 of your good wide receivers right now, which has kind of been the theme, right? You don't have really an answer at running back right now. There's no one really there, to provide that pop you need to be a run heavy offense, right? The offensive line hasn't performed well. They're dealing with things. Like you said, CJ Stroud's really out on a ledge right now. And he's, the wind's blowing and there's no one coming to save him. He could get knocked off that ledge at any second, and this could go really, really bad. And then you look at the flip side of that, and your 49ers, whatever magic that they have going on right now that allows them to keep, just keeping Christian McCaffrey healthy is working. Keep doing it, whatever it happens to be. You know what I mean? But everyone else is on the shelf right now. I mean, you haven't had Brock Purdy, who you paid tons of money to, who you've done all these things for. He's not been out there. You haven't seen, George Kittle very often. There's rumors he might be back this week. You lost, it keeps happening. It just keeps happening with every star name on this team. And somehow Mac Jones has kept you alive, but you saw his limitations, right? If you can't protect him, if you can't give him time to throw, he's not mobile. If you're going to get bull rush, if you're going to get beat, if they're going to bring pressure, he has to be able to see it pre-snap and get to a play that allows him to be successful. And oftentimes he can't do that. So that's where you kind of see these things. You cannot put him in a situation against a team with a good pass rush, a good defense, and expect him to lift you past that point. It's not going to happen. So this game, I see this game being low scoring. I don't think either of these teams get over 25 points. I think that probably if I'm going to make a score prediction for this game, 17-20, 17-21 is sort of where it ends. And I could flip a coin because I think that either of these teams could beat the other depending on how the ball falls on Sunday.
I'll be blunt here. I thought the season was already in jeopardy as soon as they traded Laramie Tunsil. I thought once they traded Laramie Tunsil, things definitely changed. An offensive line that struggled last year with Tunsil, you end up going ahead and you trade away the one great aspect of Tunsil. And mind you, Tunsil, look, it wasn't the greatest Laramie Tunsil offensive. It wasn't the greatest season for Laramie Tunsil, but it's certainly better than whatever was going on through the rest of the offensive line. You trade him away, and it has just been awful. And honestly, there are a lot of people who think that CJ Stroud is struggling out there, and there are a lot of people who think that CJ Stroud is just not good anymore after. I don't know what you want the guy to do. Like, his wide receiving core hasn't been healthy. Nico Collins, as much as I like Nico Collins, the guy constantly seems to get injured. On top of that, I mean, Tank Dell hasn't played in a long time. He's a guy that he really likes. And when Tank Dell was playing, probably an underrated aspect of the Texans offense. When he was playing, it was looking very good. That offense was looking a lot better. And that wide receiver room was looking good. Unfortunately, it feels like not too long ago, we were talking about the Texans potentially winning the AFC, being the team that compete against the Kansas City Chiefs of the world, the Buffalo Bills of the world. We're now a year later, and they're not even close to competing for the division right now. And after this week against the Niners, they could be long gone from winning the division. And I don't think they should move on from CJ Stroud or anything ridiculous like that. I think that's ridiculous. I don't even think it's moving on from DeMeco Ryans. I think that's ridiculous in and of itself because they look at the defense that he's posting up. Right now, it's just all about getting that offensive line fixed. It's about getting and I think it needs to be addressed via trade. If you got to trade one of those wide receivers, you do it. You got to invest draft capital in that offensive line. You got to do whatever you can because right now it is. Look, CJ Stroud is in the third year of his rookie deal. Eventually, they're going to have contract talks, and you need to have a better offensive line by the time those contract talks start to pick up because CJ Stroud's going to want the bag. He's going to look at a guy like Tua Tagovailoa making all that money and think, if he can make that money, I can make a lot more than that because that's the QB market now. Look, I don't think CJ Stroud in his own head thinks that he's a worse QB than Jared Goff. I really don't think so. And so Houston, get it together. Get the offensive line straight. Believe me, as a fan of a franchise who hasn't had a good offensive line in nearly a decade, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It ruins a lot of careers. It wastes a lot of primes. So, yeah, the Texans need to get it together. As for this game, I feel like I was talking so much about the Texans situation. As for this game, honestly, I just don't trust this offensive line against a Robert Saleh schemed pass rush. I just don't. I think the Niners are going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I think they're going to get some I think they're going to get pressure on Mac Jones, and I think Mac Jones under pressure has a tendency to turn the ball over. I think the Texans do. The Texans do force some turnovers, but man, I just look. Christian McCaffrey, I think, is going to be the difference here. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to excel in this game, and man, I don't. Man, I'm disappointed in the Texans. I'll go ahead and say it. I'm really disappointed in the way the Texans have come out this year. I think some of us picked the Texans to win this division, including myself. So it's just been really, really rough right now.
I'm cursed. I'm definitively cursed in the AFC South. No matter what team that I pick, the other team's gonna win. Like I picked the Jags the last couple of years, they didn't win. I was like, okay, this year I have to pick the Texans. Now the Texans suck. I don't want to pick the AFC South.
It's your fault.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
it's your fault.
It is my fault. You're 100% right. There's nobody else's fault but mine. I just can't pick the freaking right team in the AFC South. But to your guys' point, I mean, to me, Houston is just like a fancier version of Cleveland, like unreal defense, nothing else on offense besides obviously a good quarterback for the Houston Texans. And to me, if the Texans are stupid enough to let CJ Stroud walk, CJ Stroud's going to go to a different situation and he's going to be Baker Mayfield. He's going to be in the MVP conversation if he ends up with a decent situation. He's going to be Sam Darnold if he ends up with a decent situation, because we saw what he's capable of in his rookie year when he does have a decent situation, and that was arguably the greatest rookie season we've seen until we saw Jaden Daniels last year. So again, if you also, by the way, if you look at the spread on this game, the Texans are favored. They're -2.5 in this game, and I don't understand that at all because Houston is just not a good football team. I think to me, in my opinion, they're at home,
defense. But I think Vegas is considering the home advantage, the defense advantage. I think they're looking at the Niners being very, very beat up, and they just think, that might be why they're favored. Although, you never really know, man.
I mean, Vegas, to be fair though, this is
just ask Terry Rozier.
This is one of 4 games this slate that has a spread under 6. Every other game has a spread 6.5 or higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every single one. To me, the Niners are going to win this game because the Niners are just the better football team, better overall football team. Even with all their injuries, they're better overall football team.
Kyle Shanahan has somehow become a very underrated coach, despite the fact that he's been to 2 Super Bowl appearances. Can you believe Niners fans wanted that man fired? What a spoiled franchise.
He makes it work. Well, I mean, to be fair, they haven't won a Super Bowl since the 90s. It's been a long time for them, so they're getting a little bit impatient. They're getting a little bit impatient. No, let's not do another Dolphins thing, Sammy. You always blame us for making it about the Dolphins, and now you're about to make it about the Dolphins too.
Hold on. I was not going to make this about the Dolphins at all. Okay. Actually. I wasn't. No, I actually wasn't. I was saying in terms of team success, the Niners have been one of the better organizations in the past decade. They really have, or at least since Shanahan got there. Since Shanahan got there, they've been a great football team to elite football team.
Hey, Harbaugh took him to a Super Bowl
twice, man. So I think that organization, they know how to win. They know how to get to the dance. They just got to get the job done. And Shanahan's going to be the guy no matter what. I think getting rid of Shanahan would have been stupid.
Speaking of organizations that are built to win, the Philadelphia Eagles are rematching the New York Giants on a Thursday night rematch that we saw the Giants absolutely dominate. They beat them by 3 scores on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago, and now the Eagles have their chance to exact some revenge on these young, scrappy, fighting, headbutting each other New York Giants. So, fellas, Giants and Eagles, do the Giants get the best of them again, or do the Eagles get them on this time around?
It's possible. I mean, it really is.
That's not happening again. That's not happening again, Joe. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's not happening again. All right. You guys, look. I know the Giants fans are really happy with their little scat man, right? They're happy with, Mr.
Playing like one of the best rookie running backs in football.
Right. Look, the culture is changing in New York, and I'm very excited. My Dominican dad is very excited. Believe me. However, I do. Even though A.J. Brown is out, it's not like Jalen Hurts was targeting A.J. Brown anyway. Shout out to my fantasy team.
A.J. Brown had a big catch in that game last week. Just saying.
Yeah, 120 and 2 tuds last week, bro.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Time out. All right. Last week, great. He did great for me last week. I still lost, but
that's because you suck.
He did great. He did great for me last week. I thought last week was Jalen Hurts' best passing performance of his entire career. That's how highly I thought of that passing performance. AJ Brown being out doesn't change much. He still has Dallas Goedert to target. He still has Devontae Smith to target. My one thing about the Eagles is when this run game is going to get going. This team is 30th in rushing offense. That if you had told me that this team with Saquon Barkley and this offensive line would be 30th in rushing offense, I would have slapped you in the face. With that being said, I don't know why I paused there. With that being said,
dramatic.
I think that the Giants, the one thing the Giants have struggled with is there are a couple of things that they've struggled with is the rushing defense at the end. The rushing defense are 25th. Their passing defense 26th. Wow, the defense is actually a lot worse than I thought it was statistically. I think when you watch them, they seem to be all over the field. So the stats might be lying quite a bit here, but I think the Giants got a great win on Thursday Night Football. It was a short week. I do think that I'm not going to say it was a fluke or anything like that because I do think like when you beat a team by 2 possessions, it's definitely not a fluke. I think the Giants are capable of beating the Eagles again, but I think the Eagles are going to start to get a rhythm from here on out. I think the run game starts to get cooking now. I think Saquon Barkley has his best game of the season this Sunday. And I don't think Jalen Hurts has to do much passing the ball. That's my prediction. I think that Saquon Barkley has his breakout game.
To be fair, there's a theme here I want to get here, and Matt always brings it up with Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry gets 20 carries, the Ravens win, right? Or a team he's on, it wins like 80% of the time. Do you know how many touches Saquon Barkley has gotten in every one of their wins? 18 carries minimum in every win the Philadelphia Eagles have this year. Do you know how many carries he's gotten total in their 2 losses?
18. Yeah, under 10. Yeah.
18. He had 6 against the Broncos and 12 against the Giants. So
can't do it.
If you have the moral of the story is here, football fans, that if your team has a number 1, number 2 in the NFL running back, we'll just say top 5 in the NFL running back, it probably behooves you to get them at least 18 fucking carries a game. If you're going to pay them money to do that job and they do it well, i.e. 2,000 yards last year, just so we're clear, you should probably give him some fucking carries, man. Like, this is not a hard concept. And I get it. You want to show that Jalen Hurts can throw the football. He threw for 283 yards against the Giants. They put up 17 points. Do you know the yards per carry that Saquon was getting in that game? 4.8. Got 12 carries. Can't do it. So I'm going with the Eagles in this game because they're going to give Saquon Barkley, they're going to make up for the mistake in the first matchup. They're going to feed their star running back.
Yeah.
And that's how they're going to win this game.
And to your point about giving your star running back the carries, I mean, look at what the Colts do with Jonathan Taylor. Like, no other running back sees the field other than Jonathan Taylor. They give him 20, 25 touches a game, and he goes off and scores 3 touchdowns a game. Like, he's a monster. What do the Green Bay Packers do with Josh Jacobs? Same thing, 20 carries a game. Like that. What do the freaking Niners do with CMC? They give him the ball freaking 30 times a game. They just don't care if you're injury prone. Yeah, we're like, bro, we don't care if you're gonna break both ACLs. Like, we're giving you 30 touches a game until you fall off until the wheels fall off. So yeah, if you got a really good running back, that's a great key to winning a football game because it allows you to control time of possession. It allows you to control the clock. It allows your defense more time to stay off the field, play complementary football. So yeah, the Eagles definitely need to get Saquon Barkley more involved. I wanted to take about these young New York Giants a little bit because they're playing really good football, really young team, but with a young team, you're going to have ups and downs. With Dart as the starter, the first week, you beat the Los Angeles Chargers. Amazing win. 3-point win at home against the Chargers. Awesome. The next week after that, you lose by 2 scores to the New Orleans Saints. That's their only win all season, is beating you, the New York Giants, with Jackson Dart at quarterback. The next week after that, you come back from losing a 2-score game to the Saints, and then you beat the Eagles by 3 scores at home on Thursday Night Football. Then you follow that up the week after, up 3 scores in the fourth quarter on the road in Denver, and you blow a 3-score lead and lose. So again, a young team, you're going to see lots of ups and downs. I still, in this game, obviously there's a lot to be excited about in New York. Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, a lot to be excited about. That defensive line looks really, really good. But I still have Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, even without A.J. Brown in this game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be 24-20 because the Giants have been keeping a lot of these games very close and being very competitive. But the Philadelphia Eagles are just too good in this one. Now, that game, fellas, could have been an upset alert. However, this next game right now, I am putting this team on upset alert. It's the upset alert ambulance. I think I just made that up. That's not a thing. They're on upset alert is the point. Okay, gentlemen, they're on upset alert. And it's the Bucks versus the Saints.
Alert, but I think that's a terrible name.
Bucks versus the Saints.
I'm telling you right now, Bucks are on upset alert versus the Saints, fellas. Tell me what you think about that take. Do you think the Bucks could potentially lose this game to the New Orleans Saints?
I mean, the injury report says they could. They don't have anybody. Bucky's looks like he's not playing. Mike Evans is done. Ejbuka is dealing with a soft tissue injury. We don't know what that looks like. Chris Godwin looks like he's on the shelf. I mean, they're going to roll into it with literally Baker Mayfield and his will to win, right? And the defense isn't that good, right? Like they've been literally living on the arm of Baker Mayfield and his will to just never lose at all costs. And don't get me wrong, the Saints are not a good football team. We watched them, I watched them very closely in that Patriots game. And I mean, realistically, that Saints team offensively was clicking, but the defense was just blowing coverage left and right. And there's talent on that wide receiver depth chart still for the Bucks. So I could see it possibly, it's a divisional game. You're in enemy territory. You're depleted. Your defense hasn't been playing well. And you're going against a rival who plays you pretty difficult, right? Like there's not a game I can think of with Bucks Saints that has been easy for either of these teams, right? And usually the home teams got something a little extra just because the fans are going to be just foaming at the mouth for this. So I could see why you would say it. And as much as I'm a big Spencer Rattler fan, right? I don't know if that's enough to win this game. I think the Bucks have enough still. Baker Mayfield is the better quarterback, and I'm going to pick the team with the better quarterback. And right now, that's Baker Mayfield.
I'm not going to lie. The Buccaneers have a bye week next week. I think they're looking ahead to that. I'm going to pick the Saints to win this game.
Wow.
Upset alert. Okay.
I think the Saints, I look, man, I know this defense of the Buccaneers is vulnerable. I think the Buccaneers are so unbelievably banged up. They're begging to get to that bye week. Everybody on offense is hurt. Bucky Irving, Ejbuka. I mean, we don't even have to mention Evans and Godwin. They're probably gone. Well, Godwin could be back this year, but Evans is definitely out for the season. I think this game is tight. I don't know if it's going to be a shootout, but I think the Saints at home, especially, it's going to be loud in there in the dome. I'm picking the Saints to win this game outright. It's going to be close, like I said. I just think the Bucks are way too banged up. I think after the bye week, the Bucks will hit the ground running again, and they'll probably be. I think their next opponent would be the Patriots. I'll probably pick the Buccaneers to win that game, but I do think that they lose this game against the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I agree with you, Sammy. I didn't like how this Bucs offense looked last week. Granted, it was versus a far superior opponent in the Detroit Lions, and they're going to play this week in the New Orleans Saints. But this is a road divisional game for Tampa. Like any road divisional game you play, I don't care how bad the team in your division is, it's not going to be an easy football game. And this offensive line for the Bucs is banged up and playing poorly. The run game, like you guys mentioned, no Bucky Irving, and Rachaad White isn't like a great true running back. Like he averages 3.9 yards per carry this year and 3.8 for his career. He's a much better pass catcher than he is a runner. Obviously, like you guys mentioned, Evans and Godwin both out. Egbuka will play, but nursing an injury. And the defense still isn't clicking on all cylinders. I know there's some Bucs fans that liked the performance last week for the Lions, held them to 24 points, sacked Goff 4 times, picked them once. But you also allowed 380 total yards, 164 on the ground, and Jahmyr Gibbs had 218 total yards. So it wasn't the best defensive performance of all time, like some Bucs fans are making it out to be. I think that the secondary for the Bucs is playing really well, especially Jamel Dean. He's playing his ass off right now, and Jamel Dean's playing really good football. And Jacob Parrish, their rookie as well, is playing very, very good. And their safeties are doing their normal things. Antoine Winfield and Tyke Smith both playing pretty well back there in that secondary. But the front seven has not played as well as it usually does. And Buccaneers, how many times are you going to need Baker Mayfield to be Superman? Like, Baker Mayfield has had to pull you from it's like the action movie where the person is hanging off the cliff. The person is the Bucs, and Baker Mayfield pulls him off the cliff every single time at the end of games. How many times are you going to force Baker Mayfield to do that? I just don't think you can do that all that often and be successful. The Bucs are 5-1 in their last 6 games against the Saints. Make that 5-2 after Sunday. The Saints are going to upset them 23-20, ladies and gentlemen. The New Orleans Saints will get their second win of the season. And now I want to move quickly. We're going to be very, very, very quick on this game to a team that's also looking for their second win of the season. The Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts are 14.5-point favorites in the game. And I don't even think that's enough points for the Indianapolis Colts right now, because the Colts absolutely destroy the teams they're supposed to destroy. I think this is going to be 38-10, fellas. I think the Colts are absolutely going to smoke these Tennessee Titans.
Easy day.
I don't think we need to discuss this. I agree.
Easy day.
Smoke them.
Thank Titans. Hey, but look, shout out to Cam Ward. Cam Ward, my brother.
Why?
I think that he's gonna, after this game, not this game, because they're gonna get spanked. But after this game, you're gonna see the come up from Cam Ward right here. I think that I'm predicting it right here on this show. I think Cam Ward starts his case for Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though it's probably not gonna happen. I think the case starts not this week because they're going to get spanked, but next week. Okay. I think that's my take for Cam Ward and the Titans for the day. And that's all we're going to talk about, because what else is there to really say?
Yeah, I don't.
Nothing.
I'll put it all in the Colts.
Shout out to Cam Ward. Again,
shout out to Cam Ward. Shout out Gunnar Helms.
Shout out to Cam Ward.
Shout out DK over there.
Gunnar Helms, no. Cam Ward.
Put Restrepo in, man.
Yeah.
You got no other receivers
I'm
over there.
saying, man.
Get Restrepo in, man. Where are you?
Get the unks off the field. We don't need Calvin Ridley in there. Get Restrepo in the game, bro.
We don't need Van Jefferson out there. Get Restrepo in the game, man.
Van Jefferson in the big 2025, please.
Yeah, crazy.
Sorry, Van.
But
Sorry, Van.
No, you don't have to apologize to Van Jefferson. He'll be fine. He's making millions. Let's move on to the last game of the week. And fellas, in my opinion, this is the most interesting game of the week because this is a style clash between these two teams. It is the Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos, because we are seeing a great offense in Dallas, maybe one of the 2 best offenses in football, and a horrible defense, maybe one of the 2 worst defenses in football in Dallas, versus a Broncos defense that's one of the 3 best defenses in football and a mediocre offense. So fellas, this Broncos and Cowboys game, how do you guys see this one playing out?
Go ahead and just put that up there.
Oh gosh, what is that?
Are the Cowboys winning?
That's the Cowboys locked in, baby.
Oh wow, okay.
Cowboys locked in.
Wow,
locked them in on the pick'ems already.
Wait, hold on. This past week, yo, Matt, are you gonna say what I'm gonna say?
No, I'm going to say this is because of spite, and I'm going to tell you why. Because these Broncos fans have been absolutely cooking Joe in the comments. And Joe, you haven't seen the TikTok comments, I don't think. There's there's about 70 likes and there's about 40 comments. We are getting crazy ratioed on your video on TikTok because the Broncos fans did not like that whatsoever. And you saw all the Instagram ones too and the YouTube Shorts ones. They didn't like that at all. So
they're coming at me for a Patriots hat. They're coming at me for
everything. They're coming at you for everything about you and your entire family. They're coming at you for right now. So Sammy, I'm telling you, this is the reason why that Joe is picking the Cowboys right now. He's doubling down. He's doubling down on the Broncos short that we put out last week, and he wants the Cowboys to win.
That makes a lot of sense because you definitely were calling the Cowboys a bad team this week. You definitely did that.
Oh yeah,
you 1000% did that. Yeah,
100% did that.
It's in 4K. It's on our channel. It's up.
I'll put a short out for that too. Don't worry. The Cowboys fans will get shit on too. Don't worry. I'll put out a short for the Cowboys. Don't worry about
that. In 2 groups. Yeah. Unbelievable, Joe.
We had a comment too. Dallas sucks. Yeah. Hey, Joe was on that bandwagon, but now he's hopping off because he wants them to beat the Broncos out of spite.
Out of spite. Hey, you know what, man? I want to be able to go back in them comments because they're like, "Oh, your Patriots lost the Raiders. Don't act like we don't see that Patriots hat. The only thing the Patriots have beaten is the Bills. Every other win's against bum ass teams." And it's like they were only down, and then people were like, "You obviously didn't watch the game. There were a bunch of just wild plays that the Giants got away with." I said, "It doesn't fucking matter, man."
You picked the Raiders to go all the way and have a better record than the Patriots too, didn't you?
Early on, yeah. Hey, look. Hey, week 1 they beat us. I said that. I got that
That's
one right.
true. Yeah, after week 1, it was looking good. Yeah,
kind of fell off a cliff after that, but I picked
One
out. But I
week
mean,
of
yeah,
victory
no, I mean,
lapping.
you look at this team, right? Look at the Denver Broncos, and if you look at the Broncos right now, you're going to look at that team, and you're like, okay, defense is great. We knew it would be. We knew it would be, and then you're like, okay, they scored no more than 28 points until they had to come back against the Giants. Right? Like they 28 against the Bengals, trash ass organization. 28 against the Colts, tough game, lost to a field goal. The rest of the time, it's 13 against the Jets, trash organization, 21 against the Eagles, and 20 against the Tennessee Titans, who just got 30 some hung on by the Patriots, who all you Broncos fans were talking shit about. You only scored 20 to the Chargers, who you lost to, and then you beat the Giants as you had to score 33 fourth quarter points against a trash organization. And now you're about to face one of the best offenses in football who consistently put up 30 points, and you've scored 30 points one time. So, yeah, if you were calling the Bucs on upset alert, if you look at this from a Denver Broncos perspective, if you don't think that this is a foot race and you've looked at your offense like, I feel great about the way the Denver Broncos offense is playing, they can put up points, you're delusional. You better hope that defense is locked in, because if they're not, you're going to lose this game.
I like Angry Joe. I love Angry Joe.
Hate, bro. This is so much hate coming from Joe, bro. I don't like this one bit, bro. I don't like this look on you, Joe. It doesn't look good on you.
I love it. It's
Cowboys,
amazing.
I
love it.
Yeah, I know you like it, Matt. You love chaos, but me, look, I don't know, man. I don't like this. Joe just mischievously like picking the Broncos to lose this game after completely stomping on the Cowboys in our episode that is out. Like and comment, by the way. Like it's slimy. I will say this though. If the Giants offense is going to put up 32 points on a Broncos defense, I can't imagine what George Pickens and CD Lamb are going to do to this Broncos defense if they're not locked in. Like, this team is obviously going to try to bring as much pressure as possible. They lead the league in sacks by a pretty wide margin. But
don't forget Ferguson.
But look, this offense, okay, you know what, Joe? But this offense by the Cowboys, I think it's amazing. I already said that I think they can sneak into the playoffs with the caliber of offense that we're seeing right now from Dak Prescott, who might be in the MVP race if the Cowboys keep winning, by the way. George Pickens, fantastic. And then Javonte Williams, the run game. I don't think we expected the run game to be this good either. So something to look at. But look, I'm going to pick the Broncos to win because I don't think this defense is going to give up that many big plays. And the football gods aren't going to do unimaginable things when it comes to penalties, when it comes to tip passes. I don't think that's going to happen against the Cowboys. I think the Broncos are going to lock in defensively. I think Bo Nix has a bounce back game. Watch out for Marvin Mims. Watch out for Marvin Mims in this game. I think Marvin Mims has a big one. Hopefully he's. I don't know if he's in the injury report or anything, but Marvin Mims. Watch out for him. I think he has a big game, maybe even a punt return for a touchdown.
Big Marvin Mims fan over there in Miami. Sammy, you're a big Marvin Mims guy.
I like Marvin.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, he went to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there with. Was he there with Baker? Or was he there with Hurts?
Yeah,
he was there with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Williams.
Was it Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Well, good for you, Marvin Mims. Getting this is the second straight time we've recorded, and Marvin Mims got a shout out. So hey,
he might sneakily be their best weapon at receiver. He might be.
Oof.
Damn, Cortland Sutton slander just came in.
Yeah.
No Cortland Sutton slander at all. I love Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton. I love him. I just
said
think that,
Cortland
like,
Sutton with an
Marvin-
RKO right there. That was crazy. Out of nowhere. Yeah.
What RKO is being done here? I just think that he might be their best. That's not
That
to say
bum
that
ass Cortland Sutton,
is-
not a wide receiver one.
What the
It's
heck
Marvin
is that?
Mims.
You see, this is what happens when you have. This is what happens when you have two terrible co-hosts. They just put it in your mouth. And it's just unbelievable, man. Like,
now we're catching strays. We're Cortland
we-
Sutton here.
How we catching straight? We didn't even freaking talk about the 1-6 Dolphins all episode, man. We could have sat here and talked about the freaking Dolphins.
They're
the whole
doing
show.
it again. They're doing it again. Chat, you guys see this? Look. But by the way, I didn't slander Cortland Sutton once. I just said Marvin Mims might be their best receiver, and here you go, guys, go putting words in my mouth, man. Unbelievable. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
So Sammy thinks Marvin Mims is the greatest receiver in Broncos history, even better than
Here
Rod
we
Smith,
go.
Demarius Thomas, and Emmanuel Sanders.
Let's go with the name of Demarius Thomas, man.
R.I.P. Demarius Thomas.
R.I.P.
Beautiful,
Demarius
beautiful
Thomas.
ceremony, by the way. That was a
Absolutely.
beautiful
That was
ceremony
awesome.
at
Yeah, I
halftime.
love that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing ceremony for the Broncos at halftime. And he's very much deserves that ring of honor that he got, because he was when Peyton Manning was there, and even when Tim Tebow was there, he made Tim Tebow look like he could actually throw a little bit. So yeah,
Hey,
that's how
that game that was a walk-off touchdown against the Steelers, man. And like you said, hey, Denver, I will say this. You're a class organization. Absolutely. I've never met a Denver fan that I didn't enjoy. I've never once felt the Denver Broncos were not a class organization. And probably one of the top class organizations in the NFL. You're still fucking losing this weekend, though.
Yeah, good people out there in the Mountain West. I lived in Fort Collins for a little while, so I experienced a lot of Broncos fans. Very good people, but yeah, we're still concerned about your team. But to me, as far as this game goes, the matchups I should say that I want to watch: Patrick Surtain and Riley Moss versus CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, a duo in Surtain and Moss that didn't allow a catch last week. Neither one of those guys allowed a catch last week versus the Giants, versus a duo in Lamb and Pickens that went for over 200 yards last week. So again, one of the best receiver duos in the NFL going up against one of the best corner duos in the NFL. That's going to be super, super entertaining to me. So if Surtain and Moss can disrupt the timing a little bit between Dak and those receivers, make Dak hold the ball a split second longer than they want to. Samuel, like you mentioned, this Broncos pass rush with 34 sacks, 8 more than the next best team in the NFL, will get after this Cowboys offensive line that has gotten some mixed reviews. According to the win rate stats, it's 3rd in pass block win rate and 11th in run block win rate, but PFF has them ranked 22nd going into week 8. So again, some mixed reviews on this Cowboys offensive line. I think the Broncos defense can slow Dallas down enough to give Bo Nix a chance. And who knows, maybe the Broncos found something last week in that fourth quarter versus the New York Giants. Maybe it was just a confidence thing or letting it fly or whatever the case may be for the Broncos offense. Maybe they found something. So I do think we're going to have another pretty close game, but in Mile High, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos 27-20 over the Dallas Cowboys. And Joe over there put himself in a win-win situation by, if the Broncos win, being like, "Oh, see, I told you the Cowboys are trash." And if the Cowboys win, he go, "Oh, see, I told you the Broncos."
It's called hedging your bets.
Genius move.
Great move, Joe.
Genius.
Great move.
That's an
elite move. That's a great position to be in. Reminds me of
that is an expert veteran analyst move right there by Joe. That's how you know he's been doing this for the last 76 years of his 87-year life. But that is going to be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We've covered every game outside of Sunday night and Monday Night Football, which we will be covering on our live before Sunday Night Football. And that's the next time we'll see you, I guess. So comment down below. Again, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you do all those YouTube things that we will greatly appreciate. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Dale.